Hey everybody, this is Adam Broad of Liberationis, Reipublicae, coming to you from the Voluntary Virtues Network on time this week, for fucking once. Again, really sorry about last week. I really fucked up. It was the beginning of what amounted to an 8-day straight overnight shift spree, and I was just woefully unprepared. I, decided to grovel on the episode I recorded that happened on... What the fuck? Hold on. There it is. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Had my lower third lost there for a second. Anyways, enough of the distractions here. Long and short of it is I fucked up last week. It's not going to happen again, or if it does, there's going to be a really goddamn good reason for it. So that's not happening again. Today, we've got a couple of different things on tap. I want to talk about assisted suicide, the right to die, dignified death, the Brittany Maynard story. We're going to talk a little bit about global warming. Part of the reason why I have these two topics in amongst something else I'm going to bring up a little bit later on in the show as well is while I'm working at my hotel, especially on the overnight shifts, usually between 2 and 4 a.m., we have our newspaper guy come by and drop off the newspapers for the hotel for the day. And I look at the headlines and I see Ebola, or, go vote, or GOP poised for this, or... basketball player does this. Adrian Peterson, who beat his son, is found guilty, not guilty, whatever. I see all these kind of headlines, fears on this, scaremongering on that. And then little gems on how global warming is irreversible, because clearly it's entirely man-made and it's entirely our fault, despite the fact that we're making the world a better place as a whole for human beings. I don't know. Anyways, that comes in along with a lot of thanks I want to say to the guys over at libertariangaming.org. I have actually now been brought into the fold. I will be a content creator for them as well. I plan to start a show over there at some point in the future. We don't know when we're going to launch anything yet. We're still in the planning phases. It's not going to be nearly anything like what I do here. Maybe shorter, maybe longer. I don't know. We're still figuring out formats. If you've got any ideas, let us know. And please come hang out with us on the TeamSpeak. I'll put the link to libertariangaming.org in the description bar below a little bit later on, once this video has archived and processed and all that kind of fun stuff. So make sure to please go and check that out. It's a lot of fun. I've now started playing War Thunder. I finally built my tower in Minecraft, but all that stuff's kind of neither here nor there. So it's a lot of fun. Go and check them out. And big thank you to Varys and all the other guys for being so awesome. I will also promote them here at the end of the show as well. But first story here. Brittany Maynard, right to die advocate, ends her life. Unfortunately, I pulled this from USA Today because that's the newspaper I end up catching at the hotel. So I'm just going to read this article and then we'll talk about it a little bit. Brittany Maynard, the 29-year-old face of the controversial right to death movement, has died. She captivated millions via social media with her public decision to end her life. Sean Crowley, spokesman for the nonprofit organization Compassion and Choices, confirmed Maynard's death Sunday evening. She died peacefully on Saturday, November 1st, in her Portland home, surrounded by family and friends, according to a statement from Compassion and Choices. The statement said Maynard suffered increasingly frequent and longer seizures, severe head and neck pain, and stroke-like symptoms. She chose to take the aid-in-dying medication she received months ago. Her death brings a new element to the movement in the age of social media because the conversation has included younger people. She's changed the debate by changing the audience of the debate. Abraham Schwab, a professor of philosophy at Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. I actually lived in Fort Wayne, so cool little reference there. He told the Associated Press. One commenter on Twitter posted, "RIP hashtag Brittany Maynard. To die with dignity still eludes many. May you find peace." Another had mixed feelings, saying, "Brain cancer is a horrific way to die, but being raised traditional Catholic, suicide is still a no-no." Maynard was diagnosed with a stage 4 malignant brain tumor. She moved with her family from California to Oregon, where she could legally die with medication prescribed under the Oregon Death with Dignity Act. And if you go and check out this article, which I will put the article link in the description bar below, you can go and check out more information on the Oregon Death with Dignity Act. Tim Rosales, spokesman for Patients' Rights Action Coalition based in Princeton, New Jersey, said that for every Brittany Maynard, there's a Barbara Wagner, an Oregon woman who fought her insurance company when it said it would cover drugs for her suicide, but not for chemotherapy to fight her lung cancer. We have to look at assisted suicide in much broader terms, Rosales said in a phone interview Sunday evening. Obviously, we're very saddened to hear the news about Brittany Maynard. However, that being said, suicide or assisted suicide sends the wrong message to a lot of young people, around the country, particularly those who are dealing with psychological or physical challenges or serious illnesses. Barbara Coombs-Lee, a co-author of Oregon's Death with Dignity Law and president of Compassion and Choices, underscored the importance of Maynard's age in this national conversation. The general public has sort of an unspoken expectation that this is what old people deal with. Brittany Maynard's situation is so different. She's young, she's vibrant, Lee said to the AP earlier. She could be my daughter. She could be a granddaughter, a neighbor, a school friend. An evangelical inspirational speaker and Catholic seminarian who has brain cancer has been outspoken about Maynard's decision. I understand she may be in great pain, he says, and her treatment options are limited and have their own devastating side effects. But I believe Brittany is missing a critical factor in her formula for death. God. And he said that last month in an article for Religion News Service. We'll get into this whole idea a little bit later. Philip Johnson, a Catholic seminarian from the Diocese of Raleigh, North Carolina, he said on October 22nd, suffering is not worthless, and our lives are not our own to take. As humans, we are relational. We relate to one another, and the actions of one person affect others. Maynard's YouTube video posted on October 6th has received 9.5 million page views to date. In the video, she explained her diagnosis and how she planned to die. She said, quote, I plan to be surrounded by my immediate family. I will die upstairs in my bedroom that I share with my husband, and so on, and pass peacefully with some music I like in the background. 4 other states, including Washington, Montana, Vermont, and New Mexico, allow patients to seek help from doctors in dying. Rosales, citing that every major disability rights group that has taken a position on assisted suicide has opposed it, said that once people become more educated and get into the policy, the more they turn away from it as the answer to the end-of-life question. Under the Oregon law, the person must be capable, an adult, live in state, and have been diagnosed with a terminal illness that will lead to death within 6 months. Maynard's initial plans had been to die Saturday, 2 days after her husband's birthday on October 30th, but earlier this week she announced in a video she was potentially postponing it due to her health. Kind of silly, but again, we'll get into that idea a little bit later. I still feel good enough, and I still have enough joy, and I still laugh and smile with my family and friends enough that it doesn't seem like the right time right now, she said in a video on her website, theBrittanyMaynardFund.org. But it will come because I feel myself getting sicker. It's happening each week. And that wraps up talking about the videos, how many views they've had, links to all of that. Again, that's going to go in the description bar below. So what is the position to take on this? You know, a lot of people are going to say, you know, especially from the religious side, that it's not our choice to make in order to go and die, kill ourselves, or, you know, be assisted in not having our suffering anymore. And for those who are using the religious argument against this sort of thing, you know, saying, oh, you're playing God. Well, if we're going to go with the idea that God is all-powerful, all-knowing, and everywhere all at once, the omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient, then perhaps, and I know this is going to be tough to get, religious people, of which I am a part of, maybe God wants them to do this. You know, we talk about the whole idea of free will, but also determinism in a way. You know, my view on it is, you know, God sees the future. He knows exactly what's going to happen. And we have the free will to do what we want while we're here. But at the same time, he knows what's going on anyways. So he already knew this shit was going to happen. He already knew this lady was going to kill herself because he already knew about the cancer that she was going to use to kill herself, blah, blah, blah. You know, the medications and all that. You know, if you're going to take the religious aspect, you know, yeah, okay, kind of shitty. You know, perhaps maybe some kind of miracle drug would have been created, you know, by the grace of God, and she would have been healed, you know, amen. Doubt it, though. I'm becoming increasingly more atheistic the more and more I read some of this kind of stuff. But that's neither here nor there. That's a conversation for another day. The long and the short of it is that if you're going to take the religious argument, you got to take the position, too, that God just maybe, had a little bit of something to do with this. Secondly, how would this sort of idea work in a free society? Would it be considered against the non-aggression principle for a doctor to assist somebody in dying? Because, if it's done wrong, if the family decides to sue out or whatever, these people could be brought up on charges of murder. And we know that would just be kind of fucked up to go and blame the doctors and blame the people who assisted the person wanting to die. So I think what it would come down to is, and I'm pretty sure the documentation for her is that if you're of sound mind and body and you consent, you'll have a big old contract laid out by your insurance company, by your DRO, laid out by the hospital, all meshed together that says, hey, we explicitly say that, yes, we want to die. We want to die with this method, doing this, and this. Keeping in mind this, and this. The family is not to do this, and this, or else this, and this would happen. It's really not all too difficult. Is it extremely shitty? Well, yeah. I mean, does it really, really suck for people who may have wanted to spend some more time with her? Absolutely. But, if we're going to go with the idea of self-ownership here, we have the right to do with our bodies as we need to. And if we feel like we're already going to suffer and die anyways, and we know we're going to suffer and die anyways, taking this easy way out in, killing yourself, essentially, which is what she did, just peacefully, in a way, that is something that I think would not be vastly out of the realm of what could be done. Now, that said, if you have a psychological issue, if you've got an injury or a disability that is not curable but not life-threatening, get some help. If you are psychologically troubled, go seek therapy. Go talk with people. Go and do what you have to do before you think of taking that step towards suicide. There are things that you can do to make your life better. So the whole thought that one of the people had in that article that, this sends the wrong message to young people about, you can basically wuss out and take the easy way out if things get too tough. No, of course not. And if you have loving people around you, it won't be very difficult for you to want to stick around. It won't be very fucking difficult for you to try to work things out. But if you're abused, I can see where that kind of would be a thing, perhaps. So there's my 2 cents on the whole Brittany Maynard thing. Rest in peace. I hope that she made the right decision for herself. If there is a heaven, I hope she's smiling down on everybody. Hope she's happy. Blah blah blah. Ultimately, she's dead in the ground by this time. At least it's several days after the fact, so they've probably already had the funeral already. So with that gone and buried, bad pun. Let's move on to the global warming article. Again, this is from the USA Today. Headline, top scientists blame humans for climate change. I know, roll your eyes, go ahead and turn off the video for now or mute it for the next minute and a half while I read this little bitty article. And then we're going to read a response by Mr. Ryan McMakin from LouRockwell.com. You guys are going to love this. Warning of irreversible and dangerous impacts. Some of the world's top scientists Sunday released the most comprehensive assessment of climate change ever done. Newest in the report is the level of certainty, 95%, that humans and greenhouse gas emissions are largely to blame for the change. The atmosphere and ocean have warmed. The amounts of snow and ice have diminished. The sea level has risen, the report states. Hundreds of scientists from 80 countries gathered in Copenhagen to take part in the assessment by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, a United Nations group, otherwise known as IPCC. If those of you who were originally in the conspiracy theory communities like I was, you'll understand this. You will know exactly who these people are. The assessment comes as the Earth is headed towards its hottest year ever recorded, along with its highest level of atmospheric carbon dioxide in at least 800,000 years. Because clearly 800,000 years ago, we were able to record shit. Anyways, the IPCC's new synthesis report is yet another wake-up call to the global community that we must act together swiftly and aggressively in order to stem climate change and avoid its worst impacts. Says John P. Holdren, Director of White House Office of Science and Technology Policy. Those who choose to ignore or dispute the science so clearly laid out in this report do so at great risk of all of us, and for our kids and grandkids, said Secretary of State John Kerry. The scientists have done their job, and then some, said Alden Meyer of the Union of Concerned Scientists. The risks are clear. Politicians can either dramatically reduce emissions, or they can spend the rest of their careers running from climate disaster to climate disaster. 5 years ago, the global leaders set a goal of keeping the temperature rise below 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit, as compared to before the Industrial Revolution. Since the 1800s, the planet's temperature has risen about 1.4 degrees. So 200 and a little bit years, we've risen 1.4 degrees. Oh no, the sky is falling. Woo. The report is a key document that will be used in the Paris Climate Summit next year, where world leaders will try to broker the first major deal on emissions seen in decades. It will provide the roadmap by which policymakers will hopefully find their way to a global agreement to finally reverse course on climate change, said Rajanda Pachuari, the panel's chief. I don't even care if I butchered his name. Fuck him. I explained this week. The Copenhagen report sums up the IPCC's fifth assessment, a huge analysis of 30,000 studies related to global warming. Check that out at usatoday.com. Get out of here, paper. Now for the fun stuff. This is the article that I absolutely adore. This is something that I love. I love smackdowns just like this. Because this, without being quite as intelligent as this person, this is the same line of argument that I would take, and that I have taken in the past with other, climate change, psycho green faggots. Global warming debate over. We're doomed. Headline from Ryan McMakin on LouRockwell.com. According to Guy McPherson, Professor Emeritus of Natural Resources, Ecology, etc., at the University of Arizona, presumably man-made climate change is irreversible. And basically, we're all fucked. Well, he says doomed, but I say fucked. As I've noted before, says Ryan, anyone who actually values human liberty and progress should welcome declarations of the irreversible nature of global warming. After all, if there's nothing we can do to stop it, then we can just get on with our lives and leave humanity to dealing with environmental problems as they come, which is what Homo sapiens have been doing for a millennia. So McPherson's pronouncement that it's irreversible is a real load-off. We can stop having the debate about whether or not to crush human economic progress with global regulatory efforts to massively reduce everyone's standard of living via carbon emission controls, except for the super wealthy and politically well-connected, of course. But not so fast. McPherson has come up with a novel twist on this one. Even though humanity is totally doomed, that doesn't mean we can now just drop the issue and get back to increasing our standards of living as fast as possible in our last remaining years. Nope. We apparently have a responsibility to destroy ourselves so that other animals can have the planet instead. The method of suicide? We must terminate industrial civilization. Since McPherson considers himself qualified to speak on these matters, I'm going to assume that he is aware that terminating industrial civilization would result in the near immediate starvation of a large portion of the human race. This no doubt fits into his plan to destroy humanity for the sake of amoebas and elk, but then he implies that he doesn't understand what the end of industrial civilization means when he declares that, being doomed, our only choice is to, quote, enjoy and create moments of joy while we are here. You can find this at climatedepot.com. Good God, this drivel that this McPherson guy comes up with. So which is it? Should we terminate industrial civilization or create moments of joy? Because those two propositions are mutually exclusive for the vast majority of humans. Perhaps McPherson is one of those people who is under the mistaken impression that prior to industrialization, life on Earth was some sort of joy-filled wonderland. Such risible nostalgia for the past that never existed seems to infect so many environmentalists. The reality of the good old days of the pre-industrial world, of course, is one of scratching a substance out of the ground from dawn until dusk, while hoping one isn't struck down by some plague. For most people, joy comes from having some free time and relative comfort, and access to modern medical amenities when one falls ill. Without industrial civilization, there's no modern medicine, little comfort, and certainly no free time to speak of. Where we're supposed to attain this joy is a mystery in McPherson's vision. So, global warming, guys. I don't care if you think, yes, we're creating it. Yes, global warming is a problem, or climate change. Is it a big deal? Is it not a big deal? Well, ultimately, Yes, we shouldn't be doing anything that could massively harm our environment. We shouldn't go and put poison sludge on fucking trees. We shouldn't go and slaughter thousands and thousands of animals. Bad idea. We shouldn't go and take, fresh waters or even saltwater areas and dump oil in them or garbage or whatever. We should do everything we can to preserve what we have around us. At the same time, we are beholden to taking care of humans, the species that we kind of fucking are. We should be able to go out of our way to make sure that we live comfortably while still doing what we can and what we have to do to keep the climate as good as possible. Now, this whole idea that, this is irreversible and that we're fucking doomed, according to this McPherson guy, and I know likely several other of those experts with the IPCC. Sorry, guys. I feel like that argument is just so bad that if it really is as bad as that is, why don't we all just give up on trying to reverse it? It's already happened. We're all already fucked because of it. So what's the fucking point? Let's live out our lives. Let's be fucking happy like this guy wants. Let's go and catch a few operas. Let's go and build new skyscrapers. Let's build parks. Let's build fucking roads. Let's build new cars. I mean, the Tesla is spectacular. Kind of, sort of. It's getting there. All this new technology that comes from a destruction of the environments, allegedly. Let's do more of that shit. Let's make ourselves happy. Let's make ourselves more comfortable. Let's find cures for fucking Ebola. Let's find cures for this, that, and the other thing. AIDS, statism, whatever. Let's do what we have to do. Use technology. Let's abuse the environment since it's already fucked anyways. Let's abuse it in order to, live happier and to get rid of the ills that plague the world. But that's not what this guy wants. This guy wants to profit off of the idea that we need to all live back in the Stone Ages, this whole pre-industrial idea, which, as the Ryan McMakin article properly stated, the pre-industrial society was really not that great. I mean, sure, kids may have played more out in the fields and, we weren't having to worry about too much except for, getting mauled by animals and plagues and diseases. The common cold would fucking kill you in your sleep. We don't need none of that shit. Working from dawn until dusk in order to go and scratch out a living to grow all the plants we need for food. The back-breaking labor that it would take to build a fucking house out of logs and wood, not having any machinery to run that on. No, let's not go back to that. I don't think that's a great idea. I don't think this professor, Mr. McPherson, would really be able to even work in his classroom if we went pre-industrial. I don't think he really understands what any of these words mean. So, out of hand, whether you are agreeing with climate change that it happens, which obviously climate change is a thing because, it rained last night here in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. It was sunny the day before. It's sunny currently. The climate kind of changes a little bit. I think that's fucking common knowledge. It's just a matter of whether we're doing as much to the environment as people say we are, which I don't know that's entirely true. Granted, I haven't done much research. I frankly don't give a fuck. As long as I'm happy and I'm comfortable, I'm going to go recycle a little bit. I recycle cans. I recycle bottles. I'm going to go and, use recyclable materials in growing a garden that I happen to have in my backyard. That's about where that's going to end. I'm going to properly dispose of computer battery, laptop batteries, just batteries in general, whatever. But nah, fuck that. We don't need to go back pre-industrial. It's not going to happen. So how would the free society handle this whole idea of climate change? Well, it would likely be in everyone's best interest, if there is such a huge problem, if it is such a big fucking deal that we're destroying the environment, where we would actually hire in companies to fix it for us. Maybe not fix it, but help us understand ways to go about it. There'd be these recycling companies. There would be all these companies that, when they go and build a house, they plant 7,000 trees somewhere else, or something to that effect. Something that we don't need government mandates to do because we find that those government mandates never get followed to begin with. But if we don't support a company that happens to do some very, very shitty things in the environment, I think that'll solve a lot of our problem. So, free society, this shit would get solved, largely. Do I know exactly how? No. And do I care? Not really. You can check out Walter Block and Robert Murphy, some of their articles they have all over the internet to learn more a little bit about how this potentially would work. I'm fairly certain that Rothbard covered a little bit of it back in For New Liberty, or one of his thousands of books. Maybe an article in the Complete Libertarian Forum, which I've got the 2 books of, 2 massive fucking stacks. So that's something to keep in mind of. And while I have 5 minutes left on this beautiful program, there's a program on my phone that I wish to tell you about. It is utterly fantastic. How many of you like Bitcoin? Raise your hand. All right. How many of you have Bitcoin? How many of you can purchase Bitcoin because, you know, you've got that white male privilege? You can afford that shit. Didn't think so. I mean, there may be some of you, and there may be some of you who got in early. You know, good for you. Great. Fantastic. But for those of us like me who are working hard to earn a living, you know, to pay the bills and fucking deal with the state, getting Bitcoin is something that's awesome. So this app, it's called Coin Flapper. How many of you guys like to play Flappy Bird back in the day? Okay, probably none of you. But if you were any good at Flappy Bird, this game, called Coin Flapper, is a game where you can earn Bitcoins by playing the game. Basically, what you do is you join in, and I signed in through my Facebook page. You can create your own account through email or, you know, through any of the other thousands of things that you may have on social media. And you start earning Bitcoin. Now, granted, there are 2 different modes to this, essentially, on the free game, the free portion of the game. There's what's called the Novice Tournament, where you basically enter a tournament and you face off against 4 people. The first person, well, the person who gets the farthest wins. So I wonder if I have the sound on. Nope, I don't. Let's turn the sound on here. Sorry, guys. There we go. Yay! So you can get placed in one of 4 places. You get first place, second place, third place, or last. The first place winner gets 0.000003 Bitcoin. The second place winner gets 0.000000015, and then 0.0000005 for third place. Yes, it will take you fucking forever to earn any sort of Bitcoins out of this app, but you have the ability and the chance to just really start racking it up. As soon as you get to a higher level, like 0.002 Bitcoins or 0.01 Bitcoin or a tenth of a Bitcoin, you can start doing wagering, where basically you put in a Bitcoin. Oh, wow, they changed that up. Holy cow. So initially you were going to be able to put in, like, if you had a tenth of a Bitcoin, you could wager that Bitcoin. And if you won head-to-head against somebody, you would get a third of a Bitcoin back. And the loser would just lose it. So now it's down to an 18th of 0.18 Bitcoins. But still, basically, after so many wins with betting the 1.1 Bitcoin, you can start racking your way up to a full Bitcoin, which, as of a couple of days ago, Bitcoin was still in the mid-300s. That's a fucking good chunk of change. And it's a fucking game for your Android device. You can earn Bitcoin by playing a fucking game. You don't have to provide any service. You don't have to do anything of any real merit. You just play a fucking game on your phone. I've currently earned 0.0006056 Bitcoins. That's probably, 15 cents in dollars? Not great, but I haven't been playing all that much since my first night that I played it. This app, if you are a cryptocurrency fanatic, get this. You can deposit Bitcoins into your account on here and just start betting to build that up. You can also withdraw when you hit a certain amount. So you can legitimately earn money by playing this game if you do it right. So please check that out if you're into the whole cryptocurrency thing. I know I am, and it was just the perfect way for me to get involved. So I know the show's been kind of all over the place, stream of consciousness, but I just got done with my final night of 8 days in a row of overnight shifts. I got off at 7 a.m. It's 9:30 right now. I've got a minute and some odd left to go on the show, so definitely something I want to plug. Go and check out the Randall shows, both Roads to Liberty on Fridays and the Coin Pros Crypto Hour here later on this afternoon. Check out Liberty Geek from Chuck Ford, if he's even going to do a show again this week. I know he's been crazy all over the place. But also, go to libertariangaming.org. Find us on our TeamSpeak. Go and hang out with us in War Thunder, which has been a new game I've been getting into. It's been a lot of fun. Minecraft, come check out the server. It is so much fun. There's so many good buildings and just fun projects going on right now. It's just a blast. And if you have Steam and you're on a non-Apple computer, sorry, Stetson, fuck Apple. Well, I mean, if you have Steam on Apple, and you have a game, there is a likelihood that Stetson or Josh or Varus or any of the other guys, Petter especially, fucking love Petter, they will have a game that they can play with you. In fact, I just got an Evolve key for Steam, and this is my first Steam game I've ever had now. So I'm slowly getting more and more into this culture. So go and check that out. This is Adam Broad of Liberationis Reipublicae, signing out here from the Voluntary Virtues Network. Check me out at youtube.com/LiberateTheRepublic. I've got a good backlog of episodes. So I will see you guys next week. I don't know what my contact's going to be. I want to have a guest. Contact me if you want to be a guest or if you want to have a topic for me to talk about. Tell me what you want. I shouldn't have to say this week in and week out. I'm frankly getting sick and tired of having to say this. Help me out, guys. I have literally zero conversations that happen on my episodes. I don't know if it's because people just like to watch me rant or leave, or if they just don't feel like getting involved in the conversation is something worth doing. I want to make this show about what you want to hear. I don't want to just be some ranting talking head. I want a free market. Give me your ideas. Give me what you want, and I will help you. So anyways, guys, this is Adam Broad signing out, saying peace and love and liberty, and I'm playing War Thunder. See ya.